Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. It's Q&A Tuesday. So let's go ahead and get started with the questions. All right, number one, what is a HCPCS book? So HCPCS books, the HCPCS book, is all about the durable medical equipment. All of your like splints and crutches and all the little product codes are all in this book. So sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't really have to use it. So it just depends on what I'm looking for. But yeah, that is the purpose of that book. The PCS book, what is a PCS book? This is where all of the inpatient procedures are housed. So it's not a CPT book, it's something completely different. This is for your inpatient procedures. These are all the procedures that are done inpatient. That is the PCS book. I will be doing a separate video later on about the different books, and I'll show you the old PCS book that I have. I have a 2016 version, although I should probably order a latest one. And just you guys can see what it looks like. So I'll do a whole video about the different books that are available for medical coders. So anyway, that was the answer for that one. Number two is, how do I get started with medical coding, not billing? All right. So I've always suggested, if you are interested in the medical coding field, to check out the two major association websites for medical coding, which is the American Health Information Management Association, or at ahima.org, or the American Academy of Professional Coders, or at aapc.com. Both of these associations have online courses, right, that you can take if you're interested in becoming a medical coder. They have their own credentials. Each association has its own credentials. My suggestion would be to pick one association to start with and see what sort of credentials you're interested in getting and go from there. The billing part of the house sort of kind of goes with the course itself. It does not necessarily mean that you have to be a biller when you go out into the real world. So I have never done billing. I have always done medical coding my entire career. So it is totally up to you wherever you're getting a job at. Just make sure you ask them, is this billing or is this just the medical coding side? So there are companies that do that they have medical coders, and then they have a billing department. So the billing department, those folks are like usually just processing paperwork. They're not really made to do the technical stuff, which is like what the medical coders do, which is look through the documentation, and then we know what to pick up and what not to pick up, and what procedures can be picked up for this encounter. The billers are the ones that process the paperwork and send it on through. If you do not want to do the billing, you don't have to. I mean, just being a medical coder, you can just be a medical coder. Okay. All right, next question. Will watching your videos cause more confusion for somebody just starting school? I hope not. So, if you are just starting school and you are finding my videos, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. But no, I personally don't think that you're going to get more confused. I tried to make sure that I label all the videos appropriately, like what is going on in this video. So if you aren't ready to look at like Quiz Friday or Answer Monday, then you can stay away from those, because those are all about coding, looking up codes. My videos, my exercises are not official. Okay, these are just made up by me, and I'm a veteran medical coder. This is what I see in the real world. So I came up with this channel, like the idea for this channel, because I wanted to share what I know. So many people in medical coding, they have to learn things on their own. And I learned this later on. I didn't really think about it in the beginning, because it was just like, well, I just thought it was like, oh, it's a job. It's not a job. It's a career. So it's very, you're always studying you're always looking up things. I've been in this field for a little over 10 years, and I'm still learning every day. So it is a continual learning process, and that's why I love it so much. There's a bunch of reasons why I love it, but that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. It does not get boring to me. So that is that is a part of it. But if you are in school, and you're learning, and you're saying, well, I want to try to practice with a book, Quiz Friday is a good thing for that. So in my videos, like I said, I talk about the stuff that goes on in the real world, and I try to make sure that when I explain things, I give you guys a reference. Where am I finding this reference at? Always look for your official references. That is very important. It's going to serve you a long way if you have all of your references lined up, especially when you go for audits. And audits, even though it's a scary word, audits are just making sure that it's a check and balance to make sure that you're coding appropriately, if there's anything that needs to be improved, that kind of thing. So it's just a part of being a medical coder, and after a while you'll understand. So if some of the things that I say don't make sense, later on, eventually, when you stick with it, it will. Okay? So all I can tell you is congratulations if you're just starting in medical coding, or if you're just starting school. It is a adventure. It takes a special person to be a medical coder. I have said this. A lot of people have said it to me, because it is true. There are so many things when you are truly devoted to this field that you will learn. And it's never boring. At least that's in my opinion. All right. So next question. What particular details do coders work through on a daily basis? Is it detail-oriented work? It is extremely detail-oriented work. If you are not into the details, it's going to be a problem, because there are going to be times when everything is not cut and dry. Sometimes providers select codes, and basically the coder goes in and audits to make sure that the code selections are correct. If not, then they go in and they select the correct code based on the documentation. Now, if you are not looking at the details, you could miss a bunch of things. You could miss an E&M level, an evaluation management level. You could miss a procedure that's happening. You can miss another diagnosis or additional medical decision making. There are a myriad of things that you can miss if you are not detail oriented. This is why I say it is extremely detail oriented. I probably should do like a write an encounter out, so that way I can show you guys step by step what I look at. Again, it's an idea for another video that I have to do, and I'm gonna have to work on my technical prowess, because as we know, I'm very okay, point and shoot. My TV is a flat screen, and it's still, I think I got my TVs back in 2012. They still work. What? You know what I mean? So it's just Anyway, so I am not technologically advanced. I do have to work on it. I do have a couple of other cameras that I will be working with. And when I'm not filming in the next few days, I may try to practice, and see. Because I do need to do one video about step-by-step instructions on how to look up codes, or how I look up codes in the books, so that way you guys can see. But again, I tried to do it with this phone, but the phone does this thing where it's does the autofocus, and I just have to work on it. So I'm going to be practicing with my other two cameras to see if I can get it to work right. So when I do, then I can just upload videos about it. But I am going to be working on it, so never fear. All right? So next question. But yes, overall, yes, it is very detail-oriented. So If you are worried, if you're not detail oriented enough, don't worry. It comes with time. Okay, everything gets better with time. You just have to work at it. So if you are somebody that looks over like broad strokes really quick, and you just sort of look at all the information and then, oh yeah, this is here, and then you don't really catch the details, eventually you will start to look more as you get into it and start to understand it more. It will get easier for you. So, all right. Next question. How do I find the BMI? When you are looking up like obesity, there is a use additional code, little red note that's around with the diagnosis, and it'll tell you to use additional code for BMI, and then you can sort of flip back to that section. It's in the Z codes, but you can also look it up under body, and then it says mass index, and then it has the list of all the BMI that are available. So that's how you get to BMI. The next question is, what books do you need for exams? When you're registering for your exam, right, you're going to take your certification, you are ready to go. Look on the website, whatever association you're taking your credential through, whether it's the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coders. They have a list of all the books that you need. Make sure that you have the correct year and the correct version of the book. Very important. It's all about the details, so make sure that you have the correct book. And they have a list of the books that you need when you register for your certification exam. At least that's the way it is when I did it. Okay, so make sure that you check the website and make sure that you have the correct books. I cannot stress that enough. And the correct year. Okay. Because I know with the American Academy, I always do that. The American Health Information Management Association, there are a few months into the next year when you can use like the previous year book, okay? And then after a certain time, then it switches over to the new year book, okay? So make sure that you check, okay? Very important. All right. So, the last question is there math involved in medical coding? No math. But one of the paramount things that you should have is really good reading comprehension, okay? It is extremely important to understand what you're reading. And I always say this, the better you understand the disease process, the better off you'll be. And it's not just about knowing how to look up codes and knowing how to pick up modifiers and levels and things like that. It is all about understanding the disease process of whatever clinic that you're in. Like if you are working orthopedics, it's very important that you understand the fundamentals of injury coding, or injuries. Organic condition, what goes on with the body, you know what I mean? If you're working in pulmonary, you need to understand what procedures do they do. There are a bunch of websites that can help you just by doing a simple Google search. If you are looking for different specialties, look and see what information you can find out about a particular specialty, and do not get stuck with only being in one clinic. Like if you are assigned to, let's just say, the rheumatology clinic, that covers a lot of things, okay? If you are assigned to the rheumatology clinic, do not just only do rheumatology and, oh my gosh, I can't do anything else. Yes, you can. Learn to spread your wings and fly. Check out other clinics that you may be interested in. You never know until you try all these different clinics. I have done nearly every clinic imaginable. There are a few ones that I would rather not do, but it's just me. I will still do them anyway if I'm asked to do them, because I am a trooper. I will do whatever. And I can adapt. I always look at it like that. I can adapt. Whatever. So, just always keep an open mind when it comes to medical coding, because you never know what you may enjoy. I have done, like I said, nearly any in every clinic imaginable. I personally enjoy orthopedics and podiatry coding. That is my ultimate favorite, because I love injury coding. Injuries, sequela, I love it. I also enjoy pulmonary. So those are my favorites. And they just have a soft spot in my heart, because I enjoy doing those particularly. It is a journey sometimes when you have a lot of passion and you have a lot of drive to help your providers and make sure that they are doing everything that they should, and talking to them and finding out what they do, so that way you can make sure that all of it is documented as well. And sometimes it's a lot, and if you the more you get into it, you'll find that you either really love it, or you want to try something else. The more time I spend coding, the more I do my episodes for my channel, and like everybody that I talk to, even on my channel, it's really awesome, because I hear so many stories from you guys, and it reminds me on those days when it's hard, or when I get a lot of flack from people who just don't want to do new things, that it reminds me of why I enjoy doing it. It gives me that motivation to do more, and I love that, because that is what helps me. When I hear, oh, I took my exam today and I passed, and that's just really awesome. I think that's another medical coder that's out there, that's working to learn more, and I love that. I love being a part of that. I was talking with a visiting provider today. She just had some questions. They don't really have a lot of coding support where she's at, so she was asking me all these questions that she just didn't have anybody to ask, where she was at. So I was answering a lot of her questions, and she's like, oh my gosh, this helps so much. And she's like, I had all these questions and I didn't know who to ask. And, I ask my colleagues, and sometimes they know and sometimes they don't. So she goes, this was really nice. Thank you. And I love doing that. That is, again, part of my joy of being a medical coder, is reaching out and talking about the wonderful things about medical coding, and explaining things. And I love watching that light bulb go on when somebody understands something that I'm saying, because sometimes you won't always get that. You won't always get the good reception. Sometimes you may meet resistance, and even I still meet resistance. And even with people who I've worked with for years, I still get that resistance sometimes, where they don't want to listen, and they tell me to my face, literally, I'm not doing it, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful when I hear that, when I hear a provider say that to me. But I have to put myself in their shoes, and I have to think that they are under a tremendous amount of pressure, which is why I try to make it that if I talk to them about anything, if I request anything from them, it's because it's absolutely necessary, or it's going to make their documentation better. That's the only reason why I do it. So sometimes I think some people don't understand that either. They don't understand where I'm coming from. And so sometimes it just takes, cool heads prevail. So sometimes I have to sort of just take a step back and remind myself of those things when the times get hard, because it's very easy to get discouraged. And that's, I think, what happens to a lot of people, that when a coder gets met with resistance, right? They just want to give up, and they'll go, fine, whatever, let them do whatever. And it's very easy to do that, like I said. But it also takes a very special person to be patient enough to just sort of work with them through that, because as somebody mentioned today, sometimes people complain as a coping mechanism. Like, it's change. So they have to complain because it's a coping mechanism for them. But if you give them time, they'll come around. If you're patient enough, they'll come around. So I have to sort of remind myself of that sometimes when I get met with resistance. And like I said, sometimes it's hard. It's hard even for me, when I get met with resistance. For some, I take it harder than others. Like if it's a new provider, I don't really take it so hard. It's the ones that I know when they resist when I'm trying to help them that it's difficult for me. So, but like I said, we work it out, and it's a time thing. I have to give them time. So I have to remember that myself. I have my struggles too. But at the end of the day, I remember the reasons why I love it. And it puts a smile on my face. And it makes me happy. And I start thinking about it, and I get motivated again. And I just hang on to that. So, but yeah, that's it. That's Q&A Tuesday for today. So tomorrow, I'm working on tomorrow's episode, and I'll just surprise you guys with it. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Even though I won't be filming after tomorrow until next Q&A Tuesday, I'll still answer questions. If you have questions, or I'll go ahead and put it on next week's Q&A Tuesday. But yeah, so that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and upload this video. So I hope you all had a great day, and I will see y'all again tomorrow. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. All right, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.